Good evening. Welcome to 7 Minutes. My name is Vladislav Zhitny. I will be bringing your daily report tonight. Still today, many still are astounded by the liberty and freedom that the United States of America has to offer to anyone who seeks it. Yet it was not that long ago that the God-given right in the U.S. Constitution protecting life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness were evident. The movement that had began the end of discrimination period was the Civil Rights Movement that took place from 1950s to 1980s. Many know of famous politicians like Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X and the consequences of their doings. Yet what were the fundamentals behind the movement? And what had sparked the idea that the colored community could stand up to the equal but separate doctrine? Today, we're going to examine one of these aspects, a piece of literature that gave a spark to new ideas, a new sort of life. The Invisible Man was published in 1952 by an African-American writer, Ralph Ellison. Ralph Ellison was born in Oklahoma. He had received his bachelor's degree in English from Tuskegee University. He published the first chapter of the novel, Battle Royal, in 1947 as a short story for universal concerns in the human prejudice. While The Invisible Man served as a fundamental document for the Civil Rights Movement from 1955 to 1968, the first chapter, Battle Royal, laid the foundation. The text, Battle Royal, conveys the theme of freedom through the eyes of an African-American academically achieving teenager and his grandfather. The narrator, for the first time in his life, realizes his purpose and his identity in the society. Furthermore, Ellison gave numerous symbols that had featured the naked blonde woman and that symbolized the infringed upon American liberty. The white blindfolds representing the unsighted vision that the white community had placed on the colored citizens of the United States, and the presented leather bag for the narrator's struggle, besting his odds. Many would argue that the text gains its exposition as the narrator's grandfather says his dying words.
After I'm gone, I want you to keep up the good fight. I never told you, but our life is a war. I have never been a traitor all my born days, a spy in the enemy's country ever since I gave up my gun back in the Reconstitution. Live with your head in the lion's mouth. I want you to overcome him with eyes, undermine him with grins. Agree him to death and destruction. Let him swallow you till they vomit or burst wide open.
This sends confusion in narrator's thoughts that are to be cleared after a traumatic occasion that narrator was invited to give a speech at a hotel meeting where he was to be expressed the need for social responsibility. Naive, young, and inexperienced, the narrator was invited by the master of ceremonies of the event to be a part of a battle royal. As it turned out to be, Battle Royal was a brutal fight scene between narrator and his peers, covered by white blindfolds that had served as an image of a blinding hand of 20th century white man. Prior to battle, however, the narrator sees the white woman who he desires to possess. She, as mentioned earlier, gives a symbolism of abused liberty. Her nude nature represents biblical sense of purity.
Magnificent blonde, stark naked, where below the small American flag tattooed upon her belly, they tossed her as college boys are tossed at hazing. I saw terror and disgust in her eyes.
Ellison sent a message in that scene that it were the black men and women who were supposed to stand up for their rights and to save the magnificent blonde, the magnificent freedom. The Battle Royal is concluded when the narrator is given the final opportunity to present his speech to a abusive white crowd, giving them presentation on social responsibility. The white crowd continuously harasses the youth, yet one slip of word equality ends the charades and makes the crowd listen to Youss's speech. The slip can be viewed as narrator being smart to show that the 20th century mentality was but an illusion. Upon leaving, the master of ceremonies in the hotel presents the narrator with a leather bag that contains a scholarship to an African American institution that represents the narrator's perseverance of compliant resistance succeeding in his journey. Now, the narrator understands his grandfather's dying words, and moreover, so does the colored community. Thank you for joining us on the 7th Minute Show. I'm your host, Vladislav Zhitnik.